episode 9, a dual episode with me and my guest, Franki Hinton. We're talking today about updates on the homestead and a little bit of trivia and just some funness that we have going on. Talk to you all shortly. Hello, it's Tiffany, and welcome back to Cultivating Guts, a podcast where we discuss gardening, homesteading, gut health, and following our intuition. I'm excited to be back with you guys. I know it's been a few weeks. Life has been turned upside down, and there's so much going on, but we'll get into that as we get going today on the show. Had so many fun moments and ideas and about really important things that we need to discuss in the coming weeks. And so many ideas and creative moments as well on the homestead and things that I just ripped out and started over. So that's the energy of the new moon and the full moon, which we can also talk about on the show. I want to share with you on this podcast today, though, definitely things that we've changed on the homestead, things we've learned, and what we've got planted, and so much more that's going on. So also, if you're watching this on video, hello. We are live on Spotify, and we'll also have video on youtube.com/Tiffany Hinton. If you ever wanted to watch the podcast on video, you could check it out on one of those platforms. And so with that being said, before we get started, I'd like you to subscribe to the show. Subscribe to the channel where you watch the podcast, whether it's YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, or even if you're catching it on Google Podcast. Write us a review of Cultivating Guts podcast and send us a screenshot of your review, and I will send you over a free garden planner course on our website. I am now officially a certified garden consultant and garden coach, which is super exciting. And there's so many things coming with that certification and rolling out. But one of the new offerings that we have is we still have our garden consultations available and the assisted installation of your garden. We've had several women take advantage of that in the area. And I have one repeat customer who later this week is needing an addition to the garden we just added on to. So I'm going to be out in her backyard later this week. But if that's something you're interested, check out our website, cultivatingguts.com. Sign up for a consultation. You have everything you need right there. And if you'd like to get our brand new free ebook about biodynamic gardening, you can also download that for free from our website, cultivatingguts.com. Love reposting. So if you want to tag us on Instagram at I am Tiffany Hinton, leave a comment, leave a testimony, leave the most funny thing you heard today on the podcast. We'll get that reposted to stories. But overall, I'm so grateful for you to be here and for all of our amazing listeners for helping us grow the podcast. We are in our second season, and it has been such a joy. Before we head into the show, here's a quick word from one of our sponsors.
Little Witch's Moon Gardening Club, a summer session is now open right here on the homestead, and I am super excited for the next 4 months of our Kids Nature and Garden Club. Every month the kids come together on a Saturday or Sunday, and not only do they get to socialize with their friends and the friends that they make at the garden club, but they get to learn about nature, harvest from the garden, create different crafts. We call them witchcrafts, different medicinal products. They're learning about herbs. They're learning so much. And as you can see, just from listening to today's podcast coming up shortly, how much my own daughter, Francesca, has picked up from our Little Witches Moon Garden Club. She is not the only child doing this. They are learning life skills that will take them forward and help them become the people that will take care of Mother Earth going forward. If you are interested in signing your child up for our Little Witches Moon Garden Club that meets live on our homestead every month, check out our link at www.cultivatingguts.com for the Little Witches Moon Garden School. And hope you enjoyed today's podcast.
Welcome back to Cultivating Guts. Hello. So Franki's with us today.
Hi.
And it's a little, for me, serendipitous or a little bit about memory lane. So Franki is turning 12 this week. And for many of you who have not necessarily followed our story for several years, she was born on Memorial Day, on the actual holiday. My second daughter was born on Labor Day in September, and my third daughter was born on Friday the 13th. So check out that. We have 3 girls, all holiday babies. But because Franki was born on Memorial Day, every Memorial Day we do some fun stuff. We normally go hiking or visit Starved Rock, or we've done all sorts of things. This year, she's having a birthday party on the homestead, and then We're having some people over, and we're just going to do the outdoor nature thing and a sleepover, and it'll be fun. But with her, the serendipitous part is when she turned 6, so a little over 6 years ago, or exactly 6 years ago, I guess. She was on the WGN Jam morning show on her 6th birthday. And that was quite the experience of getting to go down to the city and get some Do Right donuts and be surprised. And she was making homemade ice cream sandwiches. Do you want to tell people kind of what you remember about being on the TV show?
I remember we woke up really early to drive down to the city.
Yeah, you have to be down there at 5 a.m. when you're filming on the morning show.
And we were like talking about like gluten-free food we had made.
Yeah, it was like summer snacks or something was the episode, or healthy snacks or allergy-free snacks, something like that.
And they like came and surprised me with like balloons and like everything.
Oh yeah. And one of the things I remember is as you were making the ice cream sandwich, the scooper fell and it like hit the floor in the sound room where we were. And the lady was like, and we just kept going. It was okay. It was very interesting. We never stopped to pick it up. We just kept going without the scooper. But it was quite the experience. And so it was super fun. Let's happy birthday. And so if you're listening to this and you want to wish Franki a happy birthday, you can shoot her a message over on Instagram and I'll share it. So the other thing is, so I've not had a podcast out for 3 weeks. My youngest said, Mom, it's really not a podcast if you're not doing it every week. I was like, point taken. Thank you so much. She is a Sagittarius. She is very direct, a little bit of fire. But we've been out in the homestead. We've been doing a lot of different things. We have built new garden areas. And so if you've been on our Instagram reels, you've probably seen a few of those. But we started out this year building one of the gardens from my garden certification course because I needed to turn in a garden build. I needed to turn in photos and I needed proof that I'd done everything I said I would do for my certification. And so what did we end up building, which we now call the Franki Garden?
It was 5 raised beds with 4 different trellises, and it's on rocks.
Yeah, they're on Riverstone. And they're the high ones, right?
Yeah.
They're the tall ones. They're on Riverstone. There is steel edging around the Riverstone to section that section off. It's by the greenhouse. What did you plant over there?
I planted tomatoes, carrots, cabbage, cauliflower, peas, a lot of different kinds of peppers, watermelon, cucumbers, and that's it.
And so some of you are like, how did you get all of that in there? And yeah, her beds are 2 foot by 4 foot, 4 of those, and then a 3 by 3 in the middle, and she has strawberries too. The way that we got all that in there is square space gardening. Do you want to explain to people what that means? You guys have been learning that.
Square space gardening is, so there's a couple different kinds, but one kind of gardening is row gardening, where you plant everything in one row. And square space gardening is you plant like a little plant like over here, and then another like another space, and another space, and then you might put like a different plant next to them, and it's all like kind of like a checkerboard or something.
It is. That's a good description. I was gonna say graphing. It's like you graph or you draw but yeah, you draw a checkerboard in your garden space, and then based on the type of plant, if it needs 1 square or it needs 2 squares,
or trellis.
If it's a tall plant. Yep. With square space gardening, traditional square space is 1 foot by 1 foot. With the Little Witches Moon Garden Club and with Franki's garden, we did a 1/2 foot by a 1/2 foot because a lot of the herbs only need that 6-inch square. So you basically take your tape measure and you take a pencil and you draw in the dirt and you draw your checkerboard, and then you start putting your plants in. And one of the things she mentioned is you plant them in different spots. You don't just plant all the same plants in a row. Do you remember why we do that?
So if some like animal comes to eat your plants, it'll just eat one of them, and then there'll be more right here, and it'll just keep eating all of the plants in that row.
If you did row planting, yep.
And if you plant them in like different spots, it'll eat just that one plant. But then since there's no more of that one plant close to them, it'll probably leave and go look somewhere else. So there's still more like strawberry plants for say in your garden somewhere else.
Yep. So you're alternating on purpose to create natural pest control. So it's a very unique, interesting thing. So in the potager, that's one of the things I learned in the last few weeks. I used to call it a potager, but the French pronunciation of the kitchen garden, the pot garden, right? Everything that goes in the pot is a potager. Our potager it's got some reshaping done as well. I have a few of those square space gardens where there's like sage and thyme and oregano and tomatoes and everything like in all different spots. And then there's a few that I planted with traditional rows. It's kind of an experiment right now to see what happens.
And we also planted a new flower garden.
Yes, we did. So our backyard, if many of you have been to the homestead or not to the homestead, we live on about an acre. The majority of the acre is in the back of our house. But previously, 70 years ago, maybe longer, there was a in-ground swimming pool. And so we have a lot of concrete in our backyard. And we have a huge patio that's about maybe 14 feet by 40 feet poured concrete. So we planted an L shape in the corner for flowers. Those are also double height. So they're 2x8s stacked. So they're 16 inches tall. And they're 2 feet by 8 feet, each of them, that make the L. And then inside those, I put 32 dahlias. We grew the dahlias from seed. So if you've never grown dahlia flowers from seed, that is a unique experience. I started those seeds in January. We added, what else did we add out there? I can see a lavender plant, the milkweed.
Yeah.
There is cosmos. There's a chamomile plant out there. There's some pansies. And then we went over to Pesci's. I'd never been to Pesci's as long as I've lived here. I don't know why not. It was beautiful. Huh? She's trying to whisper it. I have sound canceling headphones on. That's not going to work. And so we have a hydrangea, a hibiscus, a lavender, another hydrangea, and then a honeysuckle. Kind of making that section. And again, those photos are out on our Instagram channel too. So that got done. Then I spent a lot of time weeding. It's like, where's Tiffany been for 3 weeks? Out in my backyard, hauling. How many trips do we go pick up like more dirt and more mulch? 5. 5 trips to either Home Depot or Menards.
And every time we got ice cream.
We did. So what I learned is if I do 2 to 3 hours of yard work and eat a blizzard or eat a sundae or something else, I don't gain any weight because I pretty much have burnt off all the calories in the sweating of the yard work. So the joke in our house is I pay you in ice cream if you help do the yard work. So if you're looking to get paid in ice cream, anybody, we got lots of yard work, lots of weeding coming up probably is the next thing that's got to be done because it goes in seasons, right? Okay, so then we had a lot of chicken wire arrive and 4-foot posts. And I started to section off all of the separate kitchen raised beds so the chickens couldn't get in. And then a neighbor stopped by and said, "Oh my God, what are you doing? How are you going to get in there to weed? How are you going to get in there to harvest?" In my head, what? Point taken. So ripped all that out. And we actually gave the chickens 3 beds in their area. And so instead of having the rectangular, like our potager is super large, 3 of the beds are now sectioned off just for the chickens to run and play in. I'm not going to rip the wood up. They've been there probably 5-6 years, and they're only, I think they're 8-inch deep, but not going to worry about that. We built strawberry beds. So we have 100 new strawberry plants.
Were raised as well.
Yes, all the new beds are raised on purpose. Do you remember why we do raised beds?
Minimum weeding.
Yes. minimum weeding, more time for creativity, less weeding. But the other reason I do raised beds is because the soil has been treated over the last 70, 80 years that the subdivision's been here with I don't know what. It allows us to create a inclusively diverse soil to begin with. So when we build the soil inside the raised beds, we add stuff to it to create nitrogen, to create potassium and calcium, and create the nutrients we need in the soil. And so it's not just like we're filling the beds with garden soil or topsoil. We mix a lot of stuff in there. Mm-hmm. What are we mixing in there?
The what are the white thingies?
The perlite. It's a volcanic rock.
Okay, perlite.
You're off camera.
You put worm poop.
Yep, worm casings, worm poop.
And then like topsoil and garden soil, or
we do topsoil.
And another type of soil.
It's not soil. Compost or cow manure. New manure is what they call it. It's bags of cow poop.
But don't we have another type of soil we mix in there?
No. Sometimes I mix sand. So we'll get contractor sand. And so I used to do, prior to taking the garden certification, I would mix perlite, vermiculite, topsoil, and compost. And I would do those, not necessarily in equal things. Then there's been some controversy, of course, around perlite and vermiculite of whether they're actually sustainable or not sustainable because they're volcanic rock. And it's like, okay, in order for us to have sustainability, that means volcanoes have to keep exploding. I don't know. Take it however you want, right? And so what I learned through Gardenary is topsoil, construction sand, compost, earthworm casings, right? And so she calls it the 104%. It's like a third sand, a third topsoil, and a third compost, and then like 4% worm casings, which is like a 20-pound bag of worm casings, or depending on how much you're mixing. And so we do that. I also do eggshells in certain soils, like around the cucumbers and the things that need calcium. Lots of eggshells. We save shells. We crush them up. We've done coffee grounds, banana peels, rabbit poop, chicken poop mixed in with bedding, used straw from the rabbits that goes in some of those beds.
Yeah, and like the skins of fruit like that you wouldn't eat.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of that goes in at the bottom. Some of the other areas you're going to start seeing trending is like filling the raised beds with sticks. I don't necessarily do that, but I do fill them with, at the bottom, old leaves, or like I said, the bedding, or the pretty much the bedding or the bottom of the chicken poop and the rabbit poop and their winter bedding. Like I'll put that in the bottom of the beds, which will create heat, but it also creates lots of nitrogen as it breaks down. So we've had a lot of different projects happening on the farm, or on the homestead. It's really not a farm, it's a homestead. And today I need to finish planting because there's still quite a bit of stuff in the greenhouse that needs to come out. There's probably 12 more tomato plants. I know there's 2 more good size chamomile plants. A lot of different flowers need to be planted. I have trays of flowers I need to move. And somebody started pumpkins in a little peat pot. And so as much as I didn't want to start pumpkins till July, because they'll be ready way before it's time for pumpkin season, those pumpkins are going to have to go in the ground. So when we're done filming the podcast, I'm going to head out and get a shovel and put some stuff in the ground. And then we got a Farm and Fleet return because we decided not to do the individual fencing everywhere all over the yard. So I've got extra post and a thing of wire to return. But what else? We had some raccoons.
Yeah.
We had to get some guys out, some raccoon guys to help with that. What else has happened on the homestead? The cat caught his first mouse for a while. We hadn't had a mouse.
And then he puked it up.
So if you've ever had a cat and you get a present, yes. It's that season though. We'll start seeing more mice as the weather got warmer and better. That will just happen. Yesterday, the Little Witches Moon Garden Club in our May episode
made birdhouses.
They did make birdhouses. You want to explain how that worked?
So we use the birdhouse gourds. If you guys know what that is, that you can grow and they like grow into the shape, and then you can drill a hole in them and like scoop the seeds out and paint them. And then there's like a birdhouse.
Yep.
That you hang up.
So the birdhouse gourd is similar in the family as a loofah gourd. It's not an edible gourd, but you can grow them. And then you let them sit somewhere like in a shed or somewhere for about 9 months. These were grown last season so that they dry out. Sometimes they mold, sometimes they don't mold. And then they harden up. And just like Frankie said, you drill your holes in them. You guys spray painted them. Mm-hmm. Some people will draw on them with Sharpies and then put a clear coat on them if they want a picture. And we've got birdhouses. So you have a really pretty one out in your garden.
We also got a bunch of spray paint on the grass.
Yeah, but that's okay because you just give the grass a haircut when you mow it, and it's all right. It's like, it keeps growing. It's like human hair. You just cut it off when you're done with the color. I'm trying to think what else I think that's all the major stuff that's been happening on the homestead. The one thing is yesterday, I know you're not going to get this until later, but yesterday was the new moon, which meant that it is now time to put all the other stuff in the ground, all your seeds in the ground, everything in the ground. And the full moon that is coming in June will be a great time to do some cultivating, some weeding, but to be done seeding. So if you've got seeds, you've got plants, you've got other things, you're like, oh my gosh, I need to get this done. It is now the week to plant and plant away because the magnetic pull of the moon is going to pull those roots of those little new plants in. And so if you've also planted seeds and they haven't germinated and they haven't done anything, give them a huge dose of water, some heat, some humidity, and I bet they'll pop up this week just because of how the magnetic pull on the moon is. You'll have some great production there. And with that, guys, I think that we'll call this a short podcast. Chickens are all doing well.
Yeah. And the babies are out in the chicken coop now.
We have 26 chickens. Yep. Yesterday we had 11 eggs, which is good. The older chickens are starting to molt. Macaroni looks a little sad. She's going to get some feather fixer food when we go out to Tractor Supply. I'll pick up, not Tractor Supply, we're actually going to go Farm and Fleet. So that's another thing. How many of you visit random, multiple, or do you have one favorite farm store? For us, I think we have 3 farm stores we like. We like our Tractor Supply, we like the Farm and Fleet, and we like Trellis Farm. I don't know that we go to any others.
Trellis Farm's the best one.
Trellis is the best one. Trellis Farm is your old feed store. So if you grew up in the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, traditional feed store, family owned still.
It's so cute.
It is very cute. It's right there next to their house and their own farm. And they have a really cute gift shop. And they have a chicken room full of chicken supplies, and you can get bales of hay and all of that. And
like chicken.
And just
also like chicken shirts and like pillows and stuff like that.
But like any traditional little feed store, like where I grew up, there's a guy there, or like the high school boys that will carry your feed sacks out and put them in your car for you or in your truck. I think we might have lost Frankie. Oh no, she's getting you a sample of what we got at Trellis. This is our rooster pillow. So like I said, they have a whole room dedicated to chickens, but that would be a curiosity statement for me. So if you guys want to tag us on Instagram at I am Tiffany Hinton, curious, one favorite farm store, or do you go multiple places? So with that, thank you for joining us, and we will be back next week with another new episode. Talk to y'all soon. Look, the crystals are shining through. If you're on the video, you can see how they're not orbs. Those are actually, there's a crystal in the window, and it's the reflection of the crystal. All right, any last thoughts?
No.
All right, you guys, we hope you enjoyed this episode. Share with us what your favorite part was, and share when you try out, or actually share with us what's your favorite farm store. Tell us that. Ask us any questions. I'm here for you. I'm not sure what she's doing. Oh, she's dancing in the background. And with that, Satnam, Love you guys. So if you love this episode, remember to share it with all your friends. Send it to anyone who may love the inspiration or information that we shared. To get our newest book, The Ultimate Greenwich Garden Planner, you can check it out on Amazon or on our website, www.cultivatingguts.com. And I believe it's also in our Etsy store if you want it as a digital download, which is Lily and the Green Witch. We don't have any brand new live events coming up, but we do have our summer season of Little Witch's Moon Garden Club kicking off in June. So summer sessions are open for registration June, July, August, and September. So 4 classes, and there is a break if you sign up for all 4 at the same time. You'll get your own reference book. You'll get your own field guide. You'll get a journal. You'll start learning and creating your own monographs and your herbal journal, along with all kinds of summer crafts. The month of June, we're focusing on love potions, flowers, and we're going to be crafting and creating some fun stuff with flowers and making some love potions. Again, that information is at cultivatingguts.com. Up on the title part, click on Little Witch's Moon Garden Club. We'll also drop a link in the show notes for you. And if you're looking for anything else to get your garden started and growing, we've got everything you need at cultivatingguts.com.